The define scope process comes under planning process group, and it is linked to scope management knowledge area. At this stage, we have collected all the requirements, detailed requirements, and now we are in the process of defining or baselining the scope. This will contain the detailed description of the product and the project, and typically it defines the boundaries of the work involved. The input of defining scope are, we have the scope management plan coming in as an input, we have the project charter coming in as an input, we have the requirements documentation coming in as an input, and we have the organizational process assets also coming in as an input. The requirements documentation is the output of collect requirement process. The project charter is the output of develop project charter, which comes under initiation process group. And organizational process assets, it could be like the tools, the templates, the guidelines, all those things. Then the tools and techniques for defining scope are expert judgment, product analysis, and alternatives generation, and facilitated workshop. Expert judgment. Experts can say these are the things that must get into the product. Product analysis. We can analyze all the features of the product and see what is the value it is adding, what is the benefit to the customer, and what is the investment required, then decide whether it should be part of the scope or not. Alternatives generation. The same thing can be achieved by multiple ways. So while constructing my house, we were always talking about having a swimming pool in my house versus a club membership. In construction project, it could be normal curing versus steam curing. And in IT projects, it could be manual testing versus automated testing. And sometimes we get into facilitated workshops as well. I still remember after requirements collection, the scope increased drastically with respect to the existing system. We were building a new system. Then we got into a facilitated workshop with key stakeholders. From morning till evening, our objective was to validate the requirement. So each and every new requirement, we were asking questions like, who wants it, what is the purpose of it, and what is that, what is the additional value it will bring in, and what is that it will provide which is not there in the existing system. So it was a facilitated workshop with the main focus to eliminate unnecessary features. The output of defined scope are the project scope statement, the acceptance criteria, the constraints, assumptions we are making, and the product scope description, and the deliverables and exclusion, the scope exclusions also. In a good scope statement, we will say what all things we will deliver, and we must say what all things we will not deliver as well. And again, while defining the scope, sometimes we go back and update the project document. Sometimes even the charter can get updated. We may update the stakeholder register. The requirements documentation may get updated, and the requirement traceability metrics we have to maintain. We have to ensure that whatever requirements you have collected and whatever requirements we have shortlisted, it has a functionality in the product, and so we need a forward traceability as well as a backward traceability, starting from requirements to design to construction to testing and whatever. So this gives an overall view of defined scope. Again, I summarize. The defined scope contains the detailed description of the product and the project which build the product. It defines the boundaries On the input side, we have the scope statement, project charter, requirements, documentation, and organizational process assets. Tools and techniques, we have expert judgment, product analysis, alternatives identification, and facilitated workshops. The outputs are the agreed upon project scope statement, acceptance criteria, agreed upon constraints and agreed upon assumptions, and the product scope description. When you say product scope description, we are talking about the functionality of the product or the project, and the deliverables and the scope exclusions. And then while doing all these things, we may update the project documents, we may update the stakeholder register, we may update the requirements documentation, and we have to maintain it will be useful if you maintain a requirements traceability matrix. Now I request you to read the relevant pages from the project management body of knowledge. The page numbers are given below this video. If you scroll down, the page numbers are given. Please go to the Pmbok and read the relevant portions from Pmbok. Thank you.